them. And yeah, I think it was a difficult decision to make, but I think it was the right one.
Thank you.
I find it very interesting that my opponent's talking about signing another 3-year contract a year ahead of time. That's not something that I would support. I would wait until that term's out and then re-sign a contract for 3 years if I agreed with that program. Unfortunately, I don't agree with that program. Originally, that program was supposed to save our town $258,352 and $152,000 in health care. Well, I've just updated my figures, and it looks like we've saved about $35,000 to $40,000. And I think we can restructure the program so that we can see significant savings. And I'd like to hire some full-time janitors back from the previous custodial staff that we had before it was outsourced. And I would like to add part-timers or outsource the evenings. And I think that would be my way of maximizing savings while getting the most money for the work that's being done. And I do not agree that the schools are as clean as my opponent says that they are. I've talked to the custodians. I've talked to students. Students are the ones that are in the schools on a daily basis, and they're not telling me that story. So I don't think the program is working as well as people have talked about it too. So, like I said, I'd like to fix that program so that we have more control over it and it's not outsourced, and people aren't making money on the Swansea school system. Also wanted to disagree with my opponent on the professional development second to none. I strongly disagree with professional development being second to none. If you look at how much we spend on professional development in this area, Somerset spends proportionately significantly more than Swansea. I'd like to see Swansea be have a comparable percentage from Somerset, Seekonk, and surrounding communities. We need to be spending more money on professional development to get our teachers to where they have to be.
Thank you, Mr. Carreiro. The next question goes to Mr. Carreiro.
Use of the facilities. We have, the schools have quite a few gymnasiums and auditoriums and whatnot, and used by various people, town residents, town bodies and whatnot. Just wondering what you would do as far as charges to these groups. Would you charge them what kind of rates, or any rates at all?
Well, I haven't thought much about that, but at first, I don't think that we should be charging them anything. I mean, if it's a local basketball league that's a Swansea league and there's Swansea students participating, then I don't think they should be charged. If there's events happening that are not Swansea children, then I believe that we should charge for our facility usage because the taxpayers of Swansea are paying to maintain those facilities. I also want to talk about some of my ideas for Swansea school systems. I'd like to implement a personal finance class for high school students and maybe even the junior high school students in light of what's been going on in our economy and people spending more money than they can afford to repay. I'd like to, and students reaching their 18th birthdays, they're being aggressively marketed by credit card companies. I think it's important that our students understand how credit cards work, how interest accumulates, and how it's calculated, as well as how mortgages work, because that's what most of these people their goal is to own a home of their own someday. So I would like to see that happen, and I don't think it would be of any cost to the Swansea schools. I think we can solicit some local financial institutions to maybe pay for that kind of a curriculum, and that would supplement the present curriculum.
Thank you.
Mrs. Freitas, you want to repeat the question?
No, that's okay.
Okay, you got it.
As far as the use of facilities goes, yes, we do charge groups fees. We have gone over and we have voted as a committee a new usage policy because the old one was really outdated. I think you have to charge something. We have wear and tear on the schools when groups come in. We have custodians that we're paying for cleanup. It just makes sense to have a fee. Our fees are minimal for the school usage. It doesn't make any sense not to charge anything. I mean, we've got electricity we have to keep on for them. So to me, it makes sense to charge.
Thank you.
Are you all set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next question goes to Mrs. Freitas.
Mrs. Freitas, the relationship between the school committee and superintendent and assistant superintendent, what do you see as their roles in working within the system?
Well, obviously, they implement policy. We set the policy and they implement it. And I think the relationship is extremely important. And thankfully, we've had a good one. We have a superintendent now with an open door policy that you can go in with any questions at any time, be it somebody from the community or one of us. We have meetings and discuss a lot of, I'm in the superintendent's office 3-4 times a week because I want to have complete understanding of exactly what's going on. I don't want to just come to a meeting 2 times a month and sit there and read stuff from the agenda. And unless you're in here all the time to get this information, she can't be on the phone with you 24/7. Doesn't matter if you're a school committee member or not. And I think the relationship is, if we don't have a good relationship, then nothing's going to work, because it starts right there between us and the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. And we have administrators that are doing an incredible job. We have a superintendent right now who is innovative and creative, and she has some incredible ideas on how to make improvements in the school system. I've been in talks with her about full-day kindergarten, which is definitely a goal of mine. And she has creative ways to possibly find the fiscal space and the funding for that. So I think if you don't have a good relationship, then you're not going to get very far.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Carreiro.
Carrero.
I think it's very important to have a very good relationship with the superintendent and assistant superintendent, but it must be a professional relationship at all times. And when I'm elected, I will have a professional relationship with the assistant superintendent and the superintendent. I will not have them on the phone with me 24 hours a day, but I will be abreast with what's going on in the school department. And the full-day kindergarten I want to touch on as well. That's something that we've been talking about for 10 years. I've been watching this candidates forum for the past 5 years. It's come up every time. I haven't seen anything done about full-day kindergarten. When I'm elected, I would like to develop a program where we can implement that. I know the state funding is there. I also know that the Massachusetts School Committee Association is willing to work with us on how to develop the program and make it work successfully. And that's something that I'd like to be part of and would like to accomplish in my first term. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Mr. Carrero.
Right now, one of the mentions has been that Diamond has been doing very well in recruiting students from Swansea, but they can only take so many. I was just wondering what your feeling was about enhancing the industrial technical part of the high school.
It's a huge goal of mine. I think we need to do more in Joseph Case High School. I don't think we should turn into a diamond because we have diamond for that, but we need to offer our students alternatives. We have to acknowledge that not every student is going to go to college. So we have to have them ready to go into the workforce when they graduate. And at this time, I don't believe that they are ready. Like I said before, technology is key. Understanding computer software is key. And in any job at this point, you cannot get a good job and not understand how computers work in this day and age. So I would do anything in my power, and I know